Andy, how has marketing changed now for real estate and getting homes sold?
A lot. So there's a lot of strings to this bow, and it really is one of these things that, how long is a piece of string? If you look at marketing as a whole, marketing has a goal of getting exposure and awareness to a particular product or service, right?
Yep.
And when you look at real estate agent's job has evolved a lot. You know, back in the day, the marketing was not as important because people used to go to a local agent who would introduce buyers to a property.
Yeah. Or a broker.
Yeah, or a broker.
Brokering.
And now real estate has more evolved down the track of marketing a property and getting exposure for that property. And that really changed when internet started to become obviously prevalent in all offices. But I think it's gone one step further than that. You know, like I remember when I first started in real estate, Domain and realestate.com were really in their infancy stages, and they've come a long way from that. You know, back then it was very important to still have your newspaper advertising, and we had things like the Property Showcase, the Homes Pictorial, and people would grab those magazines to look for properties, but that stuff doesn't exist anymore, and agents are now putting all their eggs into two baskets, and I don't think they're covering all their bases, you know. So agents will still pitch you on print advertising and newspaper advertising and that sort of stuff, and they'll tell you that, you know, it's to cover all their bases and to get more eyeballs to the property, and ultimately the more eyeballs get on a property, the more competition we can create for that property, and the more competition obviously results in a better sale price. But the thing is that the reality is that while an agent can tell you that they're going to leave no stone unturned, I'm going to flat out refuse that saying, and I'm going to tell you that's totally BS. There is absolutely no way anyone in this country could cover absolutely every single base to expose that property, you know. And I'm very upfront about that with my customer, but the thing is that you only need one person to buy the property, so you want to make sure that the marketing dollars are best used and best spent where we're going to get the most value, most bang for buck, and the most eyeballs. And I think one of the places that's heavily overlooked is where everyone's attention is today. So, you know, agents are putting it on realestate.com.au, they're also putting it on domain.com.au, but when you look at everybody's daily habits, before, everyone used to watch TV when they went home, you know, and a lot of the media and marketing spend was on TV. But these days, with social media and the way technology has evolved on mobile phone, the biggest marketing advantage you could ever have is actually putting any product or any service on that mobile phone, you know, because we spend so much time on that phone. And if you're only doing REA and Domain, then you're only really going to put that property in front of active buyers. And, you know, I mean, we're all guilty of spending all day on our social feeds. How many times a day do you check Facebook or Instagram?
I couldn't even tell you.
How many times are you on YouTube?
Yeah.
You know, I think with marketing, you really, the first goal should be go where the attention is.
Yep.
You know, and all the attention is on Facebook, it's on Instagram, it's on YouTube. Yep. And agents are failing to actually sell that to their sellers because they're worried that they might not spend the money to put the properties on those channels. But the thing is, if you're not putting those properties on those channels, then you're really not doing your customer the best possible marketing campaign that you could. No. And you can do it quite cost effectively, you know, like
absolutely.
How many times have we spent $400 on a campaign and had, you know, 3,000 people view it?
Yeah.
You know, it's very shareable content. It's a very shareable media.
Yeah.
And I think people forget about that. Like, you know, REA and Domain have a share feature, but it's not as commonly used as, you know, someone tagging someone on Facebook or Instagram. You know, and I think you really need to get with the times, and you really got to optimize the whole marketing campaign to follow the attention.
Yeah. Well, I think the beauty about social media, for example, is a place to market, as well as realestate.com and Domain, is you can actually see some metrics in terms of what your money has got you.
Absolutely.
In terms of how many people have viewed it, how many people have actually engaged with it.
Yeah.
And obviously it starts to you can get pretty technical with it as well, which might be over a lot of people's heads, understandably.
Yeah.
You're getting buried in the numbers, but it's more measurable.
Absolutely.
And the thing is, if your agent's got a couple of campaigns, they can show you and unpack the numbers clearly. It should be very clear to communicate that value of, say, a couple of $100 at the very least to get some exposure. And I don't think you mentioned, but we really should, how different this is in the US.
Yeah. So,
right?
Yeah, that's a whole different chat maybe for another convo. But in the US, it is so commonplace for buyers to interact and sellers to interact on Facebook. And I think in Australia, we're very, very far behind on that. So, buyer inquiry is so high on Facebook in America. And I think that's because the agents have actually taken it up a lot more over there, but we're really slow to adapt here. But I think that's at a huge injustice and at a huge disadvantage to the seller. I think the seller's really missing a huge part of the pie. If I was selling my house, I'd want to expose my property as best as possible in the most cost-effective way where most of the attention already is. I couldn't imagine spending $20,000 on a full-page ad in one of the newspapers, and really it's gone down the drain. What did I get for it? I really don't know. I have nothing to go by. There's no metrics I can check. Nothing that I can actually physically touch, see or feel. And I think, in America, if we look at that as the example, then we really should be progressing with the times. And I think if we all get on board and that sort of stuff, then we will have more buyers and sellers interacting on Facebook. And, we're already seeing great results with the programs and campaigns we're running on there. But I think if it becomes more commonplace and more common practice, then I think it's only going to get better.
Absolutely. Oh, you're still here?
Wait, I haven't seen you subscribe yet.
Go ahead and subscribe. Oh, and while you're at it, why don't you follow us on Instagram too? Sound like a good idea?
Sounds like a good idea. See you soon.